International. Welcome to Aviation Unscripted. Thank you for making this channel a success, and thank you for joining us. So I'll let you know we are now on YouTube as well as Rumble. With YouTube, it's with a disclaimer or two about how YouTube operates, but it is a channel. And if you're on there, hit the subscribe button. We'll make sure that you get notification when another Unscripted comes out, which we hope to do every Friday, but we'll see what happens. And if you're on Rumble, again, there's a follower button there. Hit that. We'd love to have you there. Either way you want to go, we'd love to have you with us. I want to talk today about the FAA administrator. Now, that's been a hot item. I mean, a gigantically hot item over the last, well, actually almost 6 months now. We had the fiasco with Phil Washington at all levels, and I've been upfront about that. The fact was that was basically a human sacrifice, putting somebody in the line of fire that really could not answer questions, didn't have any idea what he was going to do with the FAA, just promised the job. I know that's harsh to say, but hey, anybody out there awake and sober knows that's exactly what happened. It's unfortunate for America. It's unfortunate for the people involved. Now we have another one, Mike Whitaker, who has a really good background. That's kind of impressive. What's impressive to me, I don't care about the pilot's license. What really impresses me about him is that the jobs he's been in before in terms of running organizations and at the FAA, that's kind of a double-edged sword. Number one, he does understand the FAA works. The question is, how involved was he when he was here? I think it was 2013 to 16 in making the FAA better, or was he just a guy running the show? I think we need to ask that. And that's a question I have here. How come the airline industry is so eager to go online and do things like this, say about, how the FAA needs to clean up the air traffic control system, but never says anything about the people running it? What does that tell you? I mean, we've got to have some better accountability. And again, the airline industry has to sit there and rethink things. Just saying, this is not like the Pope, where a bunch of people appoint the Pope and we all applaud because we know it, right? It came at cathedra. He's the vicar of whoever. That's not the case here. This is a person who's going to lead the aviation industry in America over the next 5 years. What do we want from him? What does he have? That was a problem I had with the last fiasco. And if you want to argue that, go ahead. But first, spend the time and take a look at the congressional hearings, the confirmation hearings of Phil Washington. Absolutely on both sides, all three sides, Democrat, Republican, and Phil, was really a disaster because no one had any ideas of what to do. We have to ask this man, what do you think we need to do? And let's ask a couple of things. What about procurement? One of the big problems with the FAA is they can't order a ballpoint pen without going through government bureaucracy to order that. How about budgeting and funding? I mean, when we have to go through the FAA, through the Congress, for the FAA to get money, we have issues here. Why can't we get a more secure way of funding programs? Another thing is accountability. I mean, we can go through NextGen all over, we have and all the rest, but the fact of the matter is air traffic control improvement is a disaster. Pure disaster. Oh, no, it's not. We're doing great things. No, you're not. You've got funding at a level that you can't really make things happen. Plus, you have a situation where you don't have enough controllers. Why did you let that happen? That didn't happen yesterday. It's gone on for several administrations, but somebody better admit it. Before the airlines once again turn around and issue some missive about how we need to improve our air traffic control system, don't aim that at the FAA, aim that at the guy at the top. And I think that's what we have to do. And I think there's several other things here. Staffing, like air traffic controllers and others in there. How are we going to fix that? What are you going to do about it? Just simply we're hiring. Every administration has said that over the last 20 years. Oh, we're not hiring. And here's where we stand. What are you going to do to make that job better? What are you going to do? It may take a lot of money. You may have to double staff what you think you really need just to keep these people sane. God love them. The other issue is, let's talk about something he's aware of, this new appointee or appointee to be, is advanced air mobility. Now, he's coming from a company that is producing, supposedly, small air taxis. And as you probably know, I think the concept of what these things can do is absolutely mind-boggling. But what is also mind-boggling is the fact that nobody wants to look at the hard side. Nobody wants to look at it and say, how are we getting our batteries? Well, it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Now, and again, the media, I mean, it's disgusting. they'll go there and do a walk and talk with these people that are producing these things, and they'll show these little buzzbirds going up in the sky, and then they'll get the argument of, oh, it's going to be about as expensive as an Uber. How do you know that? When are you going to replace those kids who are dying making your cobalt so you can run your airplanes? When are you going to find out how much lithium it's going to cost? When are you going to find out what is the cost of recycling, or actually taking care of destroying lithium batteries, because they're not real recyclable, and people will say they are. And another thing, please stop with this crap about, oh, battery power is sustainable. I know, learn about what sustainable means. We're taking stuff out of the ground and burning it. But what I'm trying to get to, there's a lot of challenges for the AAM system, and that means the FAA and others have to look at not just the fact that all these little birds will fly over it. I mean, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. To how many people will get on them? What is the real need? I think there's a huge number of options to make these things just change America. But we have to figure out what to do. And again, we covered this before. Nobody else did. When TechNem dropped their program because it wouldn't work, they said. And when NASA, after years of monkeying around trying to get a small commuter airplane electrically powered, dropped it. And of course, boy, was I taken out of the woodshed by a couple of the all-knowing. The NASA did a great job with that. They came out and said it wouldn't work. That's a great job. Yeah, it is. But we haven't really accepted what they've said. Those are the kind of things we need to look at with this gentleman coming in. And the real harbinger of where we have to go will be at those congressional hearings. If Congress asks questions that apply to where we go with the FAA, if they ask hard answers, and if he starts right out of the box, the first, thank you for sharing this, thank you for having me here, and then going into what he sees as the problems and what he thinks needs to be done. If it's going to be another thing like we've seen in the past, where, thank you very much. I thank you, Senator, for asking that question. Why do you do that? Of course, his job is to ask a question and say, fine, and be able to answer a question with, sir, I don't know that, but that doesn't come under me. I don't know what a jack screw housing does. But I'm here to make sure that we have the regulations to make sure when they work, they don't fall apart, whatever. So that's what we're going to be looking for. But I have to tell you this, I'm very, very concerned, and you should be too, that we're looking at the appointment of an FAA administrator very much like they do at the Vatican. Some other people will do it, and when they come out, we're all going to applaud. We have to have some input. And again, if the airline industry gets ticked off about air traffic control, well, you're ticked off at the people running the show. Put it in that context. So bottom line is this. When we get to the point of having congressional hearings on this new appointee, keep your eyes open and see what he says. If it's going to be just another person going there and laud the FAA for what they've done, and I've worked very hard in the past and my track record is this and that, I mean, we're in for 5 more years of nonsense. But if he comes in and he says, here's what the problems are, and here's how I see what they are, and here's how I'm going to address them. Oh, and by the way, guys, before you send any more worn-out Abrams tanks and money over to the Ukraine, toss a little my way, too. I could use $1 billion or $2 billion. I mean, Zelensky's doing great. I can do better. That's what I'm going to say. So I'm going to leave it at that, but give that some thought. And I know these are not, this is not input that a lot of people, accept, because they're, again, the airline industry and the aviation industry has to say, oh, we applaud the appointment of whoever it is. They need to say, we applaud the appointment and we look forward to the following things. Take it, get some gumption, buy a pair, and let's see what happens. With that, I'm going to move on. Next week, we're going to talk about something a little more exciting, I think. But again, if you haven't done so, hit the subscribe or the follow button. And thank you for making this a success. Have a good week.